Fatherhood Foundation Podcast, Episode 3. I'm excited, Pastor Robert. Are you?
Yes, I'm excited.
How you doing today? Doing good?
Doing good. We're doing great.
Have your coffee in the morning?
I've had my coffee. I'm ready to talk about fathering, ready to talk about manhood, whatever you got, Raul.
Okay. So, at our church, we have a saying, we're building men and raising sons. And so today we want to learn about what does it mean to be a biblical man, right? Like that seems to be the goal of every man who's following Jesus.
Right.
So what does that mean?
Mm-hmm. So, I think in another episode we talked about Genesis and how God made man. Then he made woman. He pulled from man.
Yeah.
And he instituted this thing we call family.
Okay.
All right. So he made man and he made woman. And then he told them, be fruitful and multiply. To the man, he said, I want you to become, I made you in my image and my likeness to have dominion. Right? So he said, he gave instruction to Adam. And he expected Adam to give instruction to Eve. Right? The devil came in, right? And he deceived Eve. And Adam sat by and allowed that to happen. And once Eve was deceived, then the man chose to obey his wife over God. And so he ate of the fruit with his wife, and they both were exposed, and we got what we got.
Right.
Right? So biblical manhood is so necessary because it's a tough place to be. Biblical manhood, God gave Adam 3 instructions. He said, I want you to be the image of me to your wife.
Okay.
He was supposed to be the image of God to his wife. And that's true for every man today.
Yeah.
When our wives and our children see us, we're supposed to be the reflection, the demonstration of the heart of the Father. I'm supposed to, as a man, as a father of my house, I'm supposed to demonstrate the heart of the Heavenly Father to my family. Then I'm supposed to give the instruction of the Father to my family. Right? So when I'm supposed to be the leader, I'm supposed to be saying, this is the direction that we're going with our family. And then the third thing is I'm supposed to cover them. I'm supposed to be the one that covers them.
Right.
Not suffocates them, but covers them. Right? I'm the one that sits up and takes the hits from the outside so that my family can live. Right? So Adam gave all that stuff up when he ate the fruit. Right? And today, most of us as men, we still struggle with those 3 things.
Yeah.
Right? So, but I really believe they're in order. They have to be in order.
What happens when they're out of order?
If they're out of order, it's illegal. It doesn't work.
Why?
Watch.
Okay.
So if I don't demonstrate the heart of the Father, if I don't speak to my wife like God would speak to her, if I don't treat her like God would treat her, if I'm not emulating God to her, when I give instruction to her, she doesn't receive it. And most men, that's where we go wrong. Most men, we're all about the instruction. Give me the playbook. This is how it's going to go. This is where it needs to go. But we're not good at demonstrating the image or the heart. So when the heart is not right, the instruction is shunned. You're not going to tell me what to do.
Right.
I don't like how you said that. Or you're being selfish. You're trying to just control us or whatever, right? But in reality, what it is I have to go back and say, am I demonstrating the heart of the Father? Am I is the fruit of the Spirit evident in my life where my wife is a partaker of this environment that I've created of the heart of God in my family? Am I patient? Am I kind?
Yeah.
Am I tender? And it doesn't mean am I a pushover? It means am I being like the Father in my house? that's one of the reasons that we do Man Church and what we teach about biblical manhood.
Yeah.
So we try to teach men, you have an identity.
Okay.
Right? You're a son. You have this powerful tool in your arsenal as a man that only a man has, that's called affirmation.
What does that mean?
That means that you have the power to speak into your wife and into your children words to encourage and lift. You have that power, right? But because your words are so powerful, when you're negative and you're degrading, it's powerful. So every time I have an opportunity to speak to my kids, I'm either going to build them or I'm going to tear them down. And God gave it, and I'm going to give it. The Bible says that I'll give an account for every idle word spoken.
Every word?
Every idle word spoken. So men need to learn their identity, the fact that they have this powerful tool called affirmation, and the fact that you're supposed to be on purpose. Like, it's not enough, we're supposed to raise our families right, but we're supposed to be engaged in the church, in the kingdom.
Yeah.
There's an engagement of the kingdom that sometimes in the church, what we do is, we say, well, I want a happy marriage and a happy kids and a great family. And listen, I'm not saying it doesn't end there.
Yeah.
He gives you that. And if you do the things right, he blesses you with that, because he's going to use that to build the kingdom.
Right.
And if you remove the kingdom, then it's your kingdom. It's your I just want my little house and my little stuff, and I want my materials and my material possessions, and I want my vacation time, and I want this and I want that, and it's just us four and no more. God actually has bigger plans than that.
Yeah.
And that is to use your family, the wholeness of your family, your relationship with your wife, your relationship with your kids, your relationship with him, and all of the material possessions and resources that he has blessed you with. He wants you to use that to expand the kingdom.
Yeah.
To win more souls. So we got to communicate that to men. That's a biblical man.
Yeah.
A biblical man is someone that can demonstrate the heart of the Father. He can give the instruction of the Father, and then he can cover.
So that seems like a 24/7 job. I thought my job was just to take my kids to church, make sure my wife is happy, and just live a good life.
Yeah, I believe that's like a lie from the pit of hell.
Yeah.
Because you're ineffective, you're not impactful, you're just sitting there. You're just sitting there waiting to die. And everything that you've put, going to work, all those things, they're all temporary. The only thing eternal is the kingdom. So imagine the sadness of living your whole life, getting to the end of it and saying, wow, I didn't do anything eternal. There's a lot of people out there that do nothing eternal. They're just taking care of themselves.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that it's not, I'm saying, like, God also said, when he was talking to the leadership, to Timothy, he said, you need to make sure your household is right before you can work in the kingdom, before you can become an elder, before you can run over here. You got to make sure this is right, because this is the training ground.
Yeah.
And so, our parenting is nothing but discipleship. The marriage is nothing but the marriage.
Yeah.
The horizontal marriage with my wife is nothing but an illustration of the vertical marriage of me and Christ.
Yeah.
If you got issues in your marriage, you probably got issues with Christ, right?
Ain't that
and
real?
As a man, check this out. This is a revelation that I feel has helped me. As I'm married to my wife, she's a woman and I'm a man. I don't know how to be a woman, right? But yet in my marriage to Christ, my groom, I'm the bride, right? So I study my wife, because how she submits to me is really an illustration for me to understand how to submit to my husband. vertically. Do you understand? Like, so what I'm saying is, like, it's all necessary. It's not just men, women.
Yeah.
It's all working together. God created it that way. And the power and the strength of a woman to be able to, me and my wife have been married for 33 years. How she's, while I serve her too, how she serves me a certain way. How have we made 33 years? We serve each other.
Yeah.
Right? I'm looking to figure out, how do I serve her? And she's looking to figure out, how do I serve him? You know when marriages go wrong is when we're not serving each other. We're serving ourselves. When I'm in a relationship and I'm just trying to see what I can get from her, and she's trying to figure out what she can get from me, it's a recipe for a disaster. Because eventually you'll get tired of that. Yeah. Right? The key to a successful marriage is serving each other, is like knowing they're a gift to me. My wife is a gift to me. How she parents and how she disciples and how she even deals with me, when she's honorable and loyal to me, faithful to me, submitted to me, God's like, that's how I want you to be to me. You see? That's a word. He starts to show me you're being coached like till the end.
Yeah. That's good.
And so that's why, like, with I know we live in a world where there's a lot of divorce, there's a lot of adultery, there's a lot of all those things. Yeah. It's so bad because it takes away from what it's there to do. Right. It's there to point us to Christ. It's there, everything, our marriage, my kids, as I raise my kids and, I start getting adult kids and they start deciding they're going to go this way or that way, and it's not the way I want them to go. Yeah. I start to really see me. I see me with God going like, this is really not where I want you to go, Robert, but you keep going there. Yeah. I'm going to love you. Yeah. But you need.
Make that move. Yeah.
I wonder if God ever looks at me and says, man, what have I not done enough? Why do you still chase that thing? Yeah. Right? Why do you still go after that? So biblical manhood, man, it's like, it's a lifelong endeavor to teach a man what is the heart of God, and am I being the image of that?
That's so good.
And then, so that's a lot. That's where we have to start, because if you don't start there and you start to try to cover and instruct, it feels like a dictatorship. Yeah. I never feel like God's a dictator to me. Yeah. He gives me this free will, because at the end of the day, men, listen, God wants us to choose him because he's good, because he's been good to me. Right. And every man wants the same thing. Right. We want our kids to do what we say, not because they're afraid of us, right, but because they honor us.
That's right.
Deep down on the inside, every man wants honor and respect, and we want that to happen, because we want it to come from a heart of gratefulness and thanksgiving. That's all just God.
Admiration, not obligation.
Not obligation. And a lot of men, like, what happens is, if we're not getting it, we start, I'm going to force it. Ephesians 5 with the Bible with women submit to your husbands and husbands love your wife. It's the most misunderstood scripture, because most of the time we remove the heart out of it, and we want to make it a law. Well, here's the Bible. You gotta
submit.
You gotta submit, because it says you gotta submit, right? Or you gotta love. Yeah. And God's like, yeah, I had to write that, but I want it to come because you want to. Yeah. Even the word submission in there for the women, it actually means a voluntary submission. It's like they decide.
Really?
They decide.
Wow.
They have to decide. You don't decide. Right? It's like love. It's like, I can't make you love me. Yeah. You have to decide to love me. Yeah. It's out of my hands. Right? And we get in trouble when we start trying to do things to make you love me. Right? There are a lot of Christians out there trying to do things to make God love them. but he already loves them.
That's so good.
2,000 years ago, he sent his son because he loved you, you
Yeah.
know. But yet we'll get burned out in our Christian walk because we're just like, I got to work and I got to serve and I got to do this and I got to do that. You know, does that mean everybody gets nervous when I start talking like that because they're like, Pastor, what are you doing? You're gonna drive away all our volunteers. I was like, no, I don't. You know, I'd rather you come want to do it right.
Yeah.
Why defile a sacrifice?
That's right.
Right? Like if you come with the wrong motive, he said that in Malachi.
Mm.
He told the priest, man, you guys are just letting them bring whatever to me, just so you can get your peace. Right? In the book of Malachi, he was talking to the priests, and they were holding the table of the Lord in contempt, and they were sacrificing lame and animals, and you know, they were just bringing not the first and not the best. Right? God always said, if I'm your father, where's my honor? He said, when you honor someone, you honor God when you bring your first and your best.
That's good.
But he was getting onto the priests, the leaders, saying like, you need to teach this. Because what you're doing right now is you're allowing them to bring whatever, and they're deceived. They think they're right with me, and they're not. They think that you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That was kind of the gist of that. So biblical manhood, man, it starts with understanding what are my roles. Reflect the heart of the Father. Give the instruction to my family and to the people that I lead, and to cover, not smother. Not be a lid, but to cover. To cover. Like, I'm going to cover you. I almost see it like a roof. You know, I'm gonna take the hits for you. I'm going to keep you dry.
That's good.
I'm going to keep you protected. I'm going to keep you from the weather. I'm going to provide shade for you when you need it. That's a cover.
Yeah.
Right? A cover is like, I'm going to provide shade for you when you need it. I'm going to provide a windbreak when you need it. Right? And a lot of times when we're not careful, the cover it becomes too much. We smother. You know,
that's good.
We become a lid.
Yeah.
And we oppress people.
So what's the difference between a cover and a lid?
Well, a lid is made to keep something in. Right? A lid is made, you put a lid on it so that it stays confined, right? A cover, listen, when you have a cover, you're free to come and go from underneath that cover. Right?
Yeah.
So like sometimes we provide a cover for our kids, and our kids make decisions to get out from under the cover. My job is to keep the cover. I don't have to chase my kids with the cover. I just stay upright, and I keep the cover. It's your job as a son to stay under the cover. And understand that when you get out from under the cover, there's a consequence.
Right.
And you can't blame me that I didn't cover you because you weren't where you're not where the cover is.
Yeah.
Right? It's like the father in the prodigal story. He had his house was a cover, and then the son, the youngest son, chose to take his part of the inheritance and to leave the covering. And when he left the covering, he began to experience the consequence. That father did not grab his covering and go find him to cover him. Right? Right? The 99 sheep, Jesus left the 99 to go after the lost sheep. The father stayed at home until the left son, not the lost son, he left. So God goes after lost things, but he doesn't always go after left things. The things that left have to decide to return. You know,
Yeah.
he went out when I was lost and I didn't know, he found me.
Yeah.
Right? But along the way, there was a moment in my own walk where I left. He stayed there. I'm here. You got to come back. You got to come home.
Yeah.
Those are key points to knowing how to cover.
Oh, that's
Knowing when to go after them and knowing when to not go after them. Right.
That's good.
You know, when a kid is 5 years old, you're going to do certain things, right? But when they turn 18, 19, 20, you can't treat them like they're 5.
Yeah.
Right? That's one thing. I have adult kids, so one of the things that was the hardest thing was allowing them to make their choices, allowing them to get old enough. And, you know, we put as much word as we could into them. And today, even today, I have to believe that everything I put in them is stronger than anything the world has for them.
Yeah.
And that when they are old, they won't depart.
Yeah.
That's my prayer, you know. Are they doing everything that I would do right now? Probably not.
Yeah.
But I just have to believe, you know, but I'm a covering, right? I'm here.
You are.
So when I'm here, you need me, you come see me. Right? But I'm not going to chase you because you're not lost.
Yeah.
You belong to me and you belong to this family. Now you're choosing to be out here and doing what you want to do. But you're not lost. You're left.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'll be here. I'm fattening up the calf. So when you come home, we'll have a good time.
Yeah.
But right now I'm just keeping the covering up.
That's good.
You know,
Oh.
those are some ideas of biblical manhood and what we would teach a man. And then, you know, the process, accountability to that is so key. That's one of the things that we account. You know, I'll funny story.
Yeah.
Last night, so this week I've been trying to be consistent.
Yeah.
And I've been logging my food. And last night, one of my daughters went to Walgreens and got me a pint of Rocky Road ice cream.
No.
Yeah.
No.
And I'm like a sucker for Rocky Road. So it's in my refrigerator, and I'm sitting there, and I've counted all my calories.
But you over or under?
I was under.
Okay.
And but I didn't even really look at. I just all of a sudden I just got up. I had been doing so good all day, and then I got up and grabbed that ice cream, and I popped that pint, and I ate that whole pint. I ate the whole pint of ice cream, brother. And then I looked, and it was like 680 calories.
Oh, how much were you over?
I was over 1,000.
Wow.
In my overall.
Yeah.
And then I called my trainer. I texted Eric.
Yeah.
And I was like, brother, dude, I just ate a whole pint of Rocky Road.
What do you say?
He was just giving it to me. He's like, you got to make choices, brother. You got to decide. What do you want?
Oh,
you got to decide what you want. When I went to go put it into my Fitness Pal, it didn't even have a pint. Because nobody in their right mind would eat a whole pint. They had a half a cup. I had to do 4 servings of a half a cup to get to my pint. Why do I share that? Because, you know, accountability. Now someone knows I did that. I mean, that's just an example.
I get what you mean.
But it's important,
Yeah.
you know. And it's kind of like sometimes you just need a reminder, like, hey, that's not good, you know.
Yeah.
I even told him the devil made me do it.
No, you didn't.
And but he told me, he said, you know, the devil might have made you do a spoon, but the whole pint, bro,
Yeah.
you took over in there. Somewhere in there, you took over.
Yeah.
So biblical manhood is just so critical. Accountability is so critical for a man to have someone that they can, you know, think about it. We have mentors in business. We have physical trainers in training, like I have.
Yeah.
What are they? They're just there to encourage you, to remind you, and to get you to get better, right?
Yeah.
You know, and at a certain point, like when you do something wrong, like you eat the whole pint, today's a new day.
Yeah.
Right? His mercies are new every morning. And so today I gotta do right.
Right.
It doesn't, you're not going to tank it going bad one day,
Yeah.
but you're going to tank it if you go bad and you decide, well, you know, I'm already bad. So you just keep getting bad day after bad day after bad day. Those add up.
Yeah.
Right. But if you make the correction, it's the same thing in the spirit. You know, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to have issues. You're not going to, you're not going to emulate or demonstrate the heart of the Father perfectly, but there's a new day coming. And then, you know, that's how we teach biblical manhood, is like, it's a consistency. It's a staying in it. That's why we do man church in Katy at Powerhouse Church, we do man church every Wednesday night. We gather them in and we teach them something.
Yeah.
And we challenge them, like, let's keep this thing going. Keep it in front of you.
Yeah.
Be intentional. Be aware of what God has you to do. So I would say to most men, you need to know, what does God want you to do? I've said this in other podcasts. I believe that every man should be engaged in a local church.
Yeah.
You know, I just believe that's the thing that Jesus said, upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. It's the only thing that the gates of hell will not prevail against. It's the local church. So we shouldn't be tearing down the local church. We should be building up the local church. We should be restoring the local church. We should be making sure and adjusting the local church to be able to be the thing that carries the gospel into all over the world.
Yeah.
There's a unity there. There's a power in that corporate meeting. There's a power in having a community, you know. So that's what I would say on biblical manhood.
And that's a great summary. And, you know, that was awesome. Genesis 3, go back to the beginning, right?
Right.
Image, likeness, to have dominion, to be a covering, not be a lid, to guide, guard, and govern. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Fatherhood Foundation, episode 3. Look forward to episode 4. Take care and God bless.
God bless.